We track drownings that occur on the Great Lakes, and we work with family members and loved ones of people who have drowned on the Great Lakes. In my professional life, I was a firefighter paramedic for the city of East Lansing for 25 years. So the last 12 years of my career as a firefighter, I was in the fire prevention group. So I'm very familiar with. Thanks. So I'm very familiar with risk management, and one of the tenets of risk management is to put the majority of your assets at the majority of your risk. And as the city of New Buffalo, your biggest risk is that big, beautiful lake that we all love so much. As a firefighter in the city, we have an aerial truck, 75-foot aerial truck. We have very little wildland firefighting here. We do have some wildland in our areas. We get grass fires and that kind of thing. But we don't have a lot of firefighting in wildland because it's not a big risk in our city. I would suspect that wildland firefighters down here in southwestern Michigan don't have 75-foot aerial platforms because the risk is not high-rise buildings down here. So we need to frame water safety in that manner. The biggest risk down here is the lake. I'm also on the board of directors for the National Drowning Prevention Alliance. It's again another nonprofit organization that does drowning prevention across the board, everything from backyard pools to the ocean. And you might be surprised to learn what a big problem that drowning is. So I'm just going to talk about a little bit of statistics. Drowning is the leading cause of accidental death in kids 1 to 4. The leading cause of accidental death in kids 1 to 4. The second leading cause of accidental death in kids 14 and under. Every day in the United States, an average of 10 people will have a fatal drowning. It's a really, really safe problem. We do fire drills in schools. We do lockdown drills in schools. We do tornado drills in schools, severe weather drills. In a lot of the places that we go in Indiana and Illinois to do water safety programs, they do earthquake drills. Drowning will kill more people than fire, lightning, tornadoes, school shooters, and earthquakes combined. Drowning is a really, really large problem that is vastly neglected. And the really sad part is that it's not real rocket science when it comes to preventing drowning. We need to teach kids how to swim. We need to protect our beaches and make sure that our beaches are safer. We're in a 3-minute
Yeah, if they're kind of time to wrap up, that'd be great.
Sure. So I'm just here to encourage you to find some creative solutions for addressing the problem that we have, the risk that we have here at the beach. I encourage you to find ways to fund the lifeguards at the beach because they're the first responders for the waterfront.
All right, thank you, Bob. Dave Benjamin.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
3 minutes. 3 minutes is what I get to talk about saving lives.
Correct.
I want you guys to also understand 3 minutes is critical when it comes to drowning. Okay? My name is Dave Benjamin. I'm co-founder, executive director of the Great Lakes Surf Rescue Project. I've been swimming in Lake Michigan my entire life, going on 49 years now. I've been coming to this beach my whole life. I love this beach. I love the protection that it can offer to its patrons. Here today because, well, it's kind of been on our radar the past year that there's been some cuts to lifeguards as far as hours last summer and the possibility of the whole program being terminated. We hear that the conversation is that liability and risk, that lifeguards are liability and risk, and I wholeheartedly disagree with that statement. Lifeguards save lives. Lifeguards are an asset. Lifeguards are first responders on the beach. Lifeguards have their eyes on the water. And this is very, very, very important because most people don't know what drowning looks like. There's a Hollywood version and there's an actual version. The Hollywood version is yelling and screaming and splashing and waving, a long traumatic event that is very visible and very audible. But most people don't know what drowning looks like. They think that they would hear it or see it. But drowning doesn't look like that at all. The true signs of drowning is typically a person's facing shore, mouth at water level, their head is tilted back, they're doing a climbing ladder motion or pawing at the water, it doesn't look like they're in trouble. They're not waving because they can't wave. They're not yelling because you have to be able to breathe to yell. So drowning doesn't look like drowning. And what we need to understand is that if somebody's actively drowning, doing the signs of drowning, typically 1 minute until final submersion. Lifeguards, eyes on the water, spotting that, and getting to that person within a minute is the difference between life and death. Once a person's submerged at 2 minutes, if they're recovered, if artificial respiration, CPR is properly performed, it's about a 94% survival rate. That's a great survival rate. But it's a sliding scale, not in the favor of the drowning victim. Because around 3 minutes, that magic number of 3 minutes, the heart stops. Around 4 minutes of submersion, irreversible brain damage begins. Around 10 minutes of submersion, if that person is recovered, if artificial respiration CPR is properly performed, it's only about a 14% survival rate. It's very rare. So 2 minutes is likely a full recovery. 10 minutes is likely a body recovery. So if you have unguarded beaches and a bystander actually knows what drowning looks like and they see someone submerged and they know the clock is ticking, how long does it take them to get out of the water, get to their cell phone, call 911, pinpoint their location, dispatch to get here? It's past the 10-minute mark by the time that they get here. So that's where we're at. Lifeguards are an asset. Lifeguards save lives. There's really, when we look at budgets, we look at the street, it's a $4 million project to beautify the city. I love it. More parking, parking lease, more parking, possible shuttle to the beach. You're creating more opportunities, more access to water, and you're removing the first response that is appropriate for your beach. And your beach is unique because it has a pier. It's unique because your swimming area is the north side of the pier, and even light
I
northern
really
winds.
need you to wrap this up. We have hours worth of budget to go through.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Lifeguards save lives.
All right.
Thank you. My name is Nora Howe, and thank you for this opportunity to speak. As you know, I've been an advocate of this beach in this town for a long time, and this is near and dear to my heart. I walk the beach every morning possible, when it's not too darn cold, and I'm a past lifeguard at beach and ocean. I taught some lessons, I've coached some lessons, I have a big water background. I'm well aware of water safety, and I did a grant for the schools about 5 or 6 years ago for water safety. I'm with that with some lessons for the schools who really dearly need it. Our beach is can be a very volatile, ever-changing beach. We have that jetty, and I know the lifeguards are constantly fishing people off the jetty or telling people to get off the jetty. They're preventative. Our lifeguards are not a liability. They serve as a preventative source. Hopefully they're not saving too many lives because they're out there preventing people from getting in dangerous situations. They're the eyes and ears of the beach. And along with that, I want to speak to something that hasn't been brought up, alcohol and drug use in our beach. Well, after hours in the evening, you know that people bring their things down there. But can you imagine a really busy weekend or any busy weekend in New Buffalo where people are bringing all their alcohol down in their wagons? And as you know, you get bravado when you've been drinking or whatever you're doing. There's no lifeguards down there to say, hey, you can't have this on the beach. They're the eyes and ears of the beach. They prevent these kinds of things. They also notice, if you look at our lifeguards and what they've done in the past, they walk our waterfront every day that they're on duty. They look and see how that water looks. They can tell the ever-changing rip currents. We have a very volatile situation, as does Michigan City and as does St. Joe's, all who have lifeguards, because we have jetties and piers. It's an unusual situation. But our prevailing north wind on our jetty creates a very hazardous situation. And I know that we've done a good job. I know Tony Ashbell has put up red tape, and they put lifeguards have put up the different buoys and things to prevent people from going by that jetty, because it is a very dangerous situation. It drops off quickly. And then the rip currents, when they come up, they're very dangerous. I've been caught in rip currents myself. I'm a really strong swimmer and have taken everything I've had to do this. There's also a misconception that lifeguards might become babysitters for parents. Not true. Most parents couldn't even save themselves, let alone save a child, nor recognize the signs of drownings. The Red Cross did a study recently. 53% of the people in our nation can barely swim, yet let alone save themselves. So the statistics don't prove that. again, we can't think that that's going to be happening with parents, being lifesavers of their kids or not watching their kids. They may not be watching their kids, but I can tell you one thing, they also can't save their kids. Furthermore, if we have Coast Guard involvement because we have a loss of a body or we can't find someone, although this is not paid for by the city, it will be paid for by the local police and fire department. And should we have to do a rescue, our parking lot will be closed and we will lose beach revenue, a further risk liability to our budget here, which I know, Dave, we have to make our budget work. It's been a situation where you're trying to balance the budget. Great job. But the expense of Coast Guard involvement in the city is huge. So I'm begging you, I'm imploring you to please consider having the lifeguards, find a creative way to finance the lifeguards. A bank doesn't replace a security guard with a rack of guns. We can't replace the beach with not having lifeguards and just having some life-saving stations. We need all of it. Thank you so much for this time.
Thanks, Laura. Debbie McNulty.
Hi, my name is Debbie McNulty. I'm a recent resident of New Buffalo, but my family's been coming here for 30 years and has been swimming at the beach. I'm also a swim coach in Chicago. You have to talk about prevention. That is the deal. It isn't so much the saving of lives because that's not an everyday occurrence, but prevention is an absolute everyday occurrence. The liquor, the drugs, the kids going in where they're not supposed to. I have two 40-year-old sons. First thing they always were excited about, oh good, there's no lifeguards, okay? Parents don't normally even look to see if there are lifeguards on the beach. But your teenagers, they're looking, they want to go out in deep water, even if it's not safe. That is what they do. Kids are like that. They are risk takers. And if you don't have somebody on the beach watching them, you're putting their lives at danger. Lifeguard isn't the only thing it isn't the first thing that a parent looks for. They look for is the beach nice, is their stuff laying around. Having no lifeguard on duty is just, you're just asking for trouble. So how much would you pay to save your child, or your mother, or your father, or your aunt, or your uncle? $60,000? Would you pay that to save them? Because that's what you're doing. If you write them out of the budget, you are absolutely going to have a tragedy here. You're absolutely going to have it. Because those parents are not going to be able to take care of their kids. And not all parents are even on the beach. So this town council, or whenever you decide to vote for it, please keep in mind, how much would you pay for your life? How much would you pay for your children's lives? I don't think $60,000 is a big deal. And I know for sure, given our circumstances in our political arena, $60,000 isn't a lot. And we definitely could put some fundraising efforts. I bet even the lifeguards could do fundraising efforts and raise that kind of money to pay for their own salaries. Thank you.
Peter Perry.
We ready?
No, sorry.
So I
You
guess
start talking.
Go ahead.
One more time.
Go right
Good
ahead.
morning.
You're good.
I'm Peter Carey, a resident here, full-time resident of Harbor Country, and I love it. And congratulations to you, because you are in a wonderful position. People are looking at New Buffalo to set an example. I got tweets this morning. I got texts from friends who are first responders saying, are they getting rid of the guards? That's why we're here. We're passionate about it. We're passionate about life. We're passionate about where we live and what we do. What sets New Buffalo apart from every other town in this area? What's the big draw? Why are we called Harbor Country? We're not called winery country here. We're harbor country. It's the water. It's the draw. And it's a wonderful draw. And you have the opportunity to be known as the city that sets the standard for water safety.
I read this morning that, oh, it's a liability. Our insurance isn't going to cover us because lifeguards are a liability. I think it's a greater liability when you remove your first responders. You heard the time frame? 3 minutes. The time we have to talk, you could lose a life. I'm a lifelong lifeguard, water safety instructor, and on-the-water advocate. Have you ever joined hands with people on the beach in Lake Michigan to drag for a body? I've done it up in Grand Haven. It's so sad when this room joins hands and we walk the water to find somebody, a little kid that went down. I'm sorry, it comes back to me, remembering it. But I also know the joy of saving somebody so that they can go home at night. So as you sit here and think about the dollars and you check off all the pages in front of you, think about the opportunity you have to get somebody home. That's a beautiful draw. It's Lake Michigan. You have a gem. What are you going to do with that gem? How are you going to handle it? Is it just dollars, or do you want to find a creative way to put New Buffalo on the map as setting an example for the entire area, for the state? If you play your cards right, you could get national attention. And just think what that would do for the bottom line. Or you can say, no more lifeguards, the waterfront's a liability. The band is playing, I have to get off the stage. Your turn. Thank you.
Thanks, Peter. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close the public comment portion of our meeting this morning. We have no old business. Our new business is the 2018 through 2020 budgets. Just so everybody's aware, we're working